Yeah. So today, Be'ezrat Hashem, we will learn about insects. First of all, we will start with all the laws that refers to insect. There is many things that we need to know because there is difference between if it's a whole insect, dead, alive, and we will talk about all the difference because some of the difference make a small difference, like it can take it down from the Oraita, meaning from real something that the Torah said clearly at the Chumash that we're not allowed to eat, to something a rabbinical thing. So this is what we are going to do. We're going to understand all the differences, and Be'ezrat Hashem, next year we will show you on a real just how it look like and how we are checking and so on. So we will start with the psukim first of all. So the Torah tells us that we're not allowed to eat insects. The Torah said it clearly a few times in the Torah. The Torah said, for example, "לא אל תשקטו את נפשותיכם בכל אשר עץ השורץ על הארץ," and so on. So the Torah tells us that we're not allowed to eat anything that move closer to the ground. Here it comes to definitions. Rashi explained that there is a difference between an animal that's walking, that its body is far away from the ground, and insect that normally their body is very close and they're moving differently. There is like a word in Lashon HaKodesh for lishrot and lalechet. So Hashem tells us that we're not allowed to eat kol asheretz hashoretz al haaretz, and Hashem said in few psukim that we're not allowed to eat insect from the air, like flies. We're not allowed to eat insect from the ground, as most of them, and we're not allowed to eat insect from the sea, what's called seafood. But this is easy, no question, no nothing. But second step, the Torah or Chazal and the oral law tells us, understanding from the Torah, that Hashem said we're not allowed to eat, but there is many exceptions for that. And we will start slowly from the exceptions. So first of all, we said we're not allowed to eat insects, but there is exceptions. There is, first of all, the exception of few kinds of insect that considered arbe. We talked about them, that Hashem said we allowed to eat. We had a whole shiur about them. Arbe, it was, somebody remember the name? What?
Locust.
Locust, thank you so much. And so we learned about the signs for the locust, who is allowed and who not. Now, second step. The Torah said, if we're looking carefully at the psukim in the Torah, about what we allow to eat in the sea, the Torah said that the Torah said like that, כל אשר לא סנפיר וקשקשת, בימים ובנחלים אותם תאכלו. Each alive things at the river or the ocean that have scales and fins, I think, you allowed to eat. The oral law understand from that, the Gemara tells us that all these laws of that we need scales and those things that to be a kosher fish is just on rivers and sea. But if a person have bor mayim, if somebody knows the word for it, I will be happy. Like just you have in your garden that people had
a well.
Just
a well.
A well. Thank you so much. Thank you. If a person has a well in his garden, so it's not a river and it's not a sea. So Chazal said that if a person eat an insect that didn't come from outside but grew up in that place, he is not getting the prohibition of eating insect from, like what the Torah said, from the river and the sea. And like all the time I said, sometimes when we don't have this prohibition, we have other problems. So in bracket, if the person will just eat it purposely, because in our culture it's considered disgusting, so we will have the problem of בל תשקצו את נפשותיכם, meaning we're not allowed to eat things that they are disgusting, but this prohibition are much more lower. So we will see it in the Shulchan Aruch after, but the Shulchan Aruch said clearly that if a person have a well in his garden, and at that time, they had many problems of small insect inside and so on, it's very hard to get very clean water in third, fourth, fifth world, places. So the halacha said, if you at night, you're thirsty, you don't see specifically the insect and you take the insect and eat, because if you do it, you will have the problem, as I said, אבל תשקצו את נפשותיכם. But you do allow to just drink, and if by any mistake something went inside to your mouth, it's okay, because it's not, we don't have the prohibition of insect from the water, just on sea and river. In brackets, in things that they are not whale and they are not sea and river, as long whales, I don't know how to say it specifically, but like a river, but it's not a river, and so on. So it will come to argument and huge sugiot. But in short, even though we know we're not allowed to eat insects, sometimes the Or said that in some cases it's okay. Like I said, whales are even halacha l'maaseh. If a person just went down, put his mouth and drink, and something went in and he swallow it, it's okay.
Can I a quick question, if I may? I don't really understand why you're drawing the distinction with a well versus river and sea. If you find a fish in your well that has fins and scales, is it kosher or is it not kosher?
Yeah, it is kosher. I didn't want to go deeply to how Chazal learned it, because it's a huge and hard sugya, even for people that used to learn hard sugyot. The Chazal, there is few psukim and there is difference how we learn it. Like I was called klal ufrat uklal. The Torah says in general, and after that the Torah said specifically, and after that again, and there is argument specifically how we do learn it. But Chazal got in the conclusion, the bottom line, Chazal understood that the prohibition, and I think your question make it more clear. If you want to eat something, if you do find this, like, how to say, scales, so
fins
it's kosher.
Scales.
Yeah. Now in the opposite way, if you don't find it, and this alive things was created in the whale, meaning he never lived out of it, so it will be kosher. We will have the problem of al teshaketzu et nafshatechem, meaning if it's disgusting, it's the other problem. But this problem appeared just if you basically take it and eat it. But if you just drink water and it comes, it's okay. And about that, I have another two things to talk about. First of all, we will see another details like that. But when we say that a thing it's kosher, let's say in a whale, if you just took it out, it will become not kosher. Meaning, normally it's not kosher. Because of understanding of few way of understanding the psukim, we understood that if it's in the whale, it's okay. So if you just took it out, it will be a problem. The only option to do it and not to get the halachically problem, it's when a person just put his mouth and drinking the water straightly from that. But if a person do take the water out, so it comes to details. But because in our generation, these halachically questions are not like a daily life, so I will not go to the details. I just want you to get the understanding of that. Not all the time it's asur, it's prohibited, and it depends on details, because I have like continuous to that. But halachically there is details. Like I said, if a person just drink, it's okay. If he took the water, there is details for that. Now, we have another thing the same like that. The Torah also tells us that we're not allowed to eat insects that kol asher shoretz al haaretz, all insects that they are swarming, you said, Baruch, before, right? Yeah? Every insect that they are swarming on the ground, we're not allowed to eat. Now, Chazal learned another thing from that. Chazal said that this insect should live underground. But if this insect was created not with something that separates from the ground and didn't went out and stay there the whole time and a person eat it, because it's not from the ground, so we don't have a line in the Torah that says it's not kosher. So a person do not have any prohibition except of if he took it purposely, like I said before, of al teshaketzu et nafshatechem. So the Gemara said and brought down the Shulchan Aruch and so on, that if let's say fruit, for example, was after it was cut from the tree, now it's got insect, it will be okay, but just if the insects were created inside. This is what the halakha said. Now a little bit to new how to say science and so on. So at the time of the Gemara, at the time of Chazal, the science, like the common science, was that insect can be created from dirt, meaning they don't need all the time male, female, and so on. And a dirt, they just appear. This is what was the understanding, not specifically with Chazal, but 2,000 years ago, this was the common science understanding. So Chazal said if it was created in the fruit, after the fruit was have no connected to the ground, and this insect didn't went out, it will be kasher. Now we know that insects are coming from different ways, but they are not appearing from nowhere. But for the halakha, it doesn't make any difference for us. Why? Because the reason, like the halakha thing just said, that if we have an insect that didn't live out of like underground or something that connected to the ground, it was in a fruit that no connected, meaning the achronim, meaning the rabbis of the last 100-something years said that if an insect put an egg inside the fruit and the whole insect was created in the fruit, meaning this insect didn't live out, so it will be also kosher. Okay? Till here, it's clear, or somebody want to ask any question about that?
Question. I don't think I understood. So are you saying that the insect laid its egg inside the fruit? That
after
insect hatches?
Yeah.
The insect hatches, and now you eat the fruit. If you eat the insect by mistake, it's not an avera. But
100%, yeah.
But if you eat it, if you see the insect, and you think, okay, I'm still going to eat it anyway. You're saying that that's allowed.
If you purposely eat the insect, it's not the avera of eating insect. It's just an avera of eating something that's considered disgusting in our culture. And this is, I think in our culture still, to see a worm walking inside the apple and to eat it, it's considered disgusting. So we're not allowed to eat things that considered to most or all of our culture as a really disgusting thing. So, and this is just if you saw it and took it on purpose. But if you just eat it and you don't care, you don't check, it's okay. But you need to know that this insect was created inside the apple after the apple was not connected to the tree, or I don't know how to say it in proper English.
When it's the apple's still hanging on the tree.
No, after it's not hanging in a tree. After you took the apple from the tree, now if an insect grew up there, so it was not on the ground. It has nothing to do with the ground. I will explain a little bit more about the connected to the tree. So inside the Gemara, so first of all, I want to explain in general that the basic laws that are no argument about that is if it has no connection to the land and the insect was created there, didn't went out, stay in the same fruit, and a person eat it, you don't have avera of eating insect. Now, in the Gemara, there is an argument what will be the case about insect that grew up in a fruit or vegetable while the fruit and vegetable are connected to the plant, the tree or anything. So it's argument in the Gemara, argument in the Rishonim. Most the Rishonim, like the rabbis between 1,000 years ago to 500 years ago roughly, they hold that it will be a problem. Meaning if the fruit connected to the tree and the tree connected to the ground, it will be considered as the insect walk on the land, and the Torah said if it's walk on the land, it's prohibited. Okay, but it's a definition. Some understood like that, some understood like that. I said in the Gemara, in the Rishonim, and the Shulchan Aruch is asking that if it's got insect while it's connected to the ground, it's asur. Okay. Now another step on that. Some Rishonim, like I said before, they said, and this is what we hold, that if it's got insect when it's connected, when it's in the fruit, when the fruit connected to the ground, so it's considered as its walk on the earth and the land, and it will be prohibited. But another question starts. When we have how to say hummus, like beans and so on, when you have insect inside the beans, so some Rishonim understood that if he didn't have a place to walk inside, meaning everything is closed on the insect himself, he just live in his hole inside the bean. So many Rishonim said, even though we said that if it's connected to the ground, it's considered as the ground, but you need to walk there because the pasuk says, Kol asher shoretz el haaretz, meaning he is moving on the ground. But if he didn't have a place to walk, so it's kasher. The bottom line, the Shulchan Aruch posek that insect that grew up in a fruit connected to the tree, we're not allowed to eat. But if it was in a bean itself, and the insect didn't have a place to walk, it will be kosher, meaning according to the pshat of the Shulchan Aruch, we don't need to check hummus, beans, and so on from insect that inside, not insect that beside. Some kind of insect live inside, those no problem according to this poskim, and some are on the side, like between the beans, so those are 100% asur according to everyone. In the last more achronim, like our rabbis of like, let's say the last 100 years ago approximately, they start to talk about nowadays, if you take, one of you once opened a bean or a hummus or something and you saw insect inside, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So many times, let's say the insect is 2 millimeters or 3 or 4, the hole should be like 3 times as much, or I don't know, few times much the size of the insect himself, because he eats, and I don't know. So we never see normally a situation that the insect don't have a place to walk inside. Okay? So some understood that in our situation, when you see that the insect has a place, even according to the Shulchan Aruch, it will be not kosher, because the insect had a place to walk. Some other understood that it's not considered a place, he almost has nowhere, and if you want to change the law of the Shulchan Aruch, you need to bring proof for that all insects change, because normally it has a place, and we assume that Shulchan Aruch 400 years ago talks about basically the same situation. So this is halacha lema'aseh, an argument in a ichsherim. Some take more more time and ashka'a to check hummus and those, and some said that it's not a problem, and definitely if you're planning to ground it, let's say for falafel and so on, so we will talk about grounding, it's make it lower problem. So they said you don't need to check beans from inside, meaning just check that you don't have insect between, but you don't need to put it in water, to soak it in water and so on, like the process that how we check hummus and beans. Till here, it's clear? Esti, shalom, shalom.
שלום רבי, מה נשמע?
ברוך השם.
יופי. מתי אתה חוזר אלינו?
יום חמישי.
יופי.
תודה, אני מעריך מאוד. Now everything is clear. Somebody want to ask something? Because I feel that I really put so much. ברור?
Well,
Okay.
Why have they chosen chickpeas more than any other fruit or vegetable? Is there a reason that they've identified those two?
Yeah, because of it's just to understand this logic. The logic of those poskim said, if you have like let's say in apricot, so the insect can go all over. Okay, it's not strong. If you take a strong dairy, not dairy, like dry, I don't know, like a strong thing as a beans, for example, or all those hummus, ful, and so on. So it's beans. It's a name for all of those, right? For hummus and all, right? So if you take a bean, so if the insect don't have a place, it's strong. He is inside, and he is covered from all sides. He don't have a place to walk. The Torah said we're not allowed to eat insects that walk underground. Clearly said that the Torah said like that, and the Oral Law said it also clear that they should walk underground to become prohibited. So even though we said that when it's connected to the ground, it's considered part of the ground, but you need to have a place to walk. If you didn't have a place to walk, it should be kosher. And this is how the Shulchan Aruch is posek too. That if you have a bean and it's inside, it's okay. Some said that today you do see that they have a place, so maybe this is not the specifically bean how the Shulchan Aruch talks about, and this is an argument in our generation.
So you're saying that if it comes out of the bean, because it didn't have anywhere to walk, it's not prohibited, but it would still be disgusting, so you don't eat it anyway.
Yeah, today you will not eat it, but till today you will have different approach. Depends which rabbi specifically will ask or which kashrut organization. Some hold like that, some hold like that. Meaning some see, like most of said you need to check chickpeas and all those beans. The difference become how much effort you put on that. Meaning some will tell you, listen, halachically, most percentages it's not a problem at all. So we are checking, to be 100%, to make sure that we're also okay according to the others. But we are not making a big deal from it. You will ask a person to check. You will not check about him, how much he checked. You will give a person to check a lot in a short time because, we will tell them to check fast. You not put few people to check. You will put less effort about that. And some will tell you, no, today it's 100% prohibited because they have a place to walk. So they will put more efforts and so on and so on and so on. Ruth, everything good? Okay.
I just saw your mom.
Oh, shalom. Mom, I don't see you, but welcome. I don't know how to move people. Oh, I saw. I'm really not a technological person. So okay, now I learned. Okay. So I will do, for the people that just came, I will do a very short review about that, and we will continue another step about what we are talking about. So we said in short that we know we're not allowed to eat insects. This is what the Torah said, but there is exceptions for that, and we are talking about the exceptions now because the basic understanding of we're not allowed to eat insects, everyone knows. Now we are talking about the exception. So what is the exception is, the Torah said we need to find a skills in every alive thing we want to eat from the river and the sea. So Chazal understood from that if it's from your whale, if you drink the water from that straightly and you basically swallow something, any larva, I don't know, anything, it will be okay. And also, we're not allowed to eat insects that they swarm on the ground. And if they didn't swarm on the ground, like if they were created inside the fruit after it's not connected to the tree, so it's also okay. This is what we talk about. Now, I think I will talk, there is many details about that, but first of all, I want in general to understand the idea. Now, another very important idea about that. This halakha that I'm going to talk about now have nothing to do with Siman Pei Daled, what we are learning now in Chot Tolaim, the laws of insect. It has to do with the laws of when things mixed up together, kosher and not kosher. So there is many laws about that in Chot HaArovot. So I will give a short review on specific law that's very important for us now. I think everyone heard about the law of 160, right? Yeah. So now, just a second, it's just bothering me. Okay. So all of us heard about that. So Chazal tells us that in general, everything that is dry and mixed one kosher, two kosher with one not kosher, it's okay. If it's liquid, so we need 160. This is very basic and famous law and Ilchot Kashrut. Okay, so what is even the problem of insects? Because normally we have more than 70-something% kosher, like the fruit itself, than the insect, right? And even more than 160 normally. If a person will take lettuce or doesn't matter, strawberries, all berries, blueberries, everything. If you will take the amount of the insect and you compare it to the fruit or to what you want to eat, it's all the time will be even less than 160. Even though I said that normally we don't need 160 for dry things, just for liquid. So somebody knows what makes the problem? You can say, I will be happy if somebody knows.
Well, it's a solid. You said it's
if you have a solid, what?
You said if you have a solid, it's got to be 1 out of 2. I think you said.
Right. If you have one not kosher out of 2 kosher, it's right. Mixed up. It's called bitul berov. It's okay. So what's the problem with insect at all? Like, we're not talking about people here. Not normally people. Their problem with insect is not people like adore eating insect. And I was in Amazon once, and I remember
Isn't it because it's Doraita? It's from the Torah, so it's not
again?
Chazal. Because it's from the Torah. It's not from Chazal.
Yeah, you're right. Because it's from the Torah, so undoubtedly we need to take higher approach. But even according to things that they are in the Torah, if you have most percentages that it's okay, and lower percentage that it's not, it should be okay. Meaning, if we had this is what we talk, and I'm so happy that you remember it. It's giving me a very good feeling. So if we had let's say one non-kosher fat with one kosher fat mixed together, and the non-kosher fat it's from the Torah, so we have a doubt in the Torah, and like we said, we go in lechumra, we take the severe approach. But if we have 2 pieces that they are kosher, 1 piece that's not kosher, halachically there is details about that, but in general, halachically it's just okay. Some said you're not allowed to eat all of them, you're just allowed to eat 1, because if you eat all of them, so 100% you eat a not kosher. So I'm not going to this detail, it's a different shiur. But this is the halakha in general. So what's the problem for us with insect? Because all the time it will be even less than 160. Even if we have, let's say, a pig, a chazir, inside, a small piece inside the cholent, and it's mixed up and you don't find it, if it's less than 160 and it's happened, you did it ideally, should be okay. So the difference is because we have another law called Bria. Bria, good, Baruch. Bria, you want to explain what's Bria in English, Baruch? Go ahead. Like, just
well, I mean, the issue is that it's a whole creature, right?
Yeah, good.
And so a whole creature can never be nullified in part because it's a whole.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you. So when we have a whole creature, you can't nullify it. I think, thank you so much. This is the law, meaning there is a little bit more deeper than that. The Torah tells us that if a person took a non-kosher things, but he took 1 gram of it, he don't get lashes. Okay, we're not allowed to eat non-kosher thing, but if a person took a small bite from a pig, so we're not allowed to do it from the Torah, but you don't get lashes for a small thing. It should be at least kazait, okay? Because if it's less than kazait, it's not considered something. You're not allowed, but you don't get lashes. But if a person will take an ant that it's less than a kazait and will eat it, so the Mishnah says very clear in the Orla that a person will get lashes because an ant is an all thing, it's an all creature. So when we have an all creature, halachically, we are getting that a different way of, yeah. So the halacha also tells us that when we have an all creature, we do not have the law of 160. Okay? For example, if a person, I don't know, a person have a chunt, so we said if you have meat inside, if you have a small piece of non-kosher meat fall inside less than 160, you can't find it, you did it purposely, it's okay. Now, if you have a mouse or a rat or I don't know what fall inside, that it's a all creature, you can say, oh, I have 160 and to eat everything. No, you need to look for it. I don't know, do whatever you can. If you can't, you can take things that you're sure they are not the non-kosher thing, but you can't eat it and by mistake to say, oh, I don't know, a rat was tasty. So because of that, when we have the problem of insect, because they are all creature, we can't talk about that as a 160 normally halachically. It's clear, right? If somebody has any question, I'm here. Good?
Yep.
Okay. Now, I can say that the minhag, the custom now, many approach that, like I said, but there is a rabbi called Rabbi Eliahu. He was very famous in Europe. Rabbi Eliahu, he has a halachically book called Karte Upalte, and he said like that, this law of when you have an all creature, you can't say it's batel, it's because it's very important. And he said, look, even though I agree that small insects are not kosher, but for a small insect on a size of, I don't know, of 1 millimeter, you can see it, it's not kosher, you're not allowed to eat it. But you can't tell me that this small insect has a chashivut, because the whole idea of all creature is when it has a chashivut. Like, in his way, he understands like that. If you have a mouse inside your chunt, so you have a mouse, it's a thing. But if you have a spider mite fall inside your chunt mixed up in I don't know what, nobody cares. Nobody really will give a chashivut, how do you say chashivut in English? Mom, you want importance?
Importance.
Like, importance, thank you so much. Nobody give importance to this small insect. So Rabbi Eliahu hold like that. So according to Rabbi Eliahu and those poskim that understand like him and there is, so we almost do not have problem of insect at all halachically according to him, because he holds that listen, when you're taking a blueberry, a blackberry, doesn't matter what, you have more than 160 on the insect, even though the insect is an all creature, it's a small one. Normally, when we are talking about the small ones, and it don't have importance by itself, so they hold that it's not a problem. I said in Israel nowadays, and I have the feeling that these things become more and more, that the custom become that people do approach those insects as not betelim, as like it's 100% asur, and slowly people are more machmirim in that, taking it to more severe. In Israel now, the Rabbanut Shel Israel even every place you want to bring, every place you want to get kosher, you're not allowed just to buy lettuce or anything, or you can't bring, let's say, for example, blueberry and blackberry and to sell it as kosher, because they took this approach of the others that small insects considered a whole creature, and they can't identify, they can't disappear, or use my English, in 160. Somebody has a question? No?
So they don't eat blueberries and blackberries at all?
Yeah, so in Israel, you cannot sell blueberry and blackberry in any kosher restaurant, just the juice of it. Because, oh, good, this is
What's the
now,
difference?
yeah, this is very important, that very, very important that you ask, because I almost forgot to talk about it, and it's very, very important, this understanding. Now, just repeat a little bit again what I just said. If we have 160 that mixed up not by my purpose, meaning if a person wants to put not kosher thing to mix it up in less than 160, Chazal, our rabbinical thing, Chazal made like a fine, and they said, listen, if you did it by purposely, you're not allowed to eat it. It's not a Torah thing, it's Chazal, when a person did it purposely. Now, so we said, if we have insect inside, even though we have more than 160, we're not allowed because it's an old creature. But what will be the case when I ground or make a juice or something, and let's say 100% I took the insect, and the insect was split to half in, I don't know, 5 times, 10 times, 100 times. You had insect, but now you don't have any old creature inside. So now we are going back to the halakha of 160. We have a juice or a shake or something. Maybe we have part of small insect inside, but because it's less than 160 and nobody did it purposely, nobody took the insect, put them inside, said, oh, I will put 1% of insect inside my juice, I will get chelbon. Protein, thank you so much. So nobody said I will get protein from that, and this is why I do it. So it's not a purpose, it should be okay. The problem is that normally when we're doing shake, like in Israel, for example, because like I said, they took this approach of insects are not allowed, even though they're small. So, so when we do shake of something, it's not 100% that those small insects are grounding too. Like if you will ground strawberry, you will see that the seeds are not exactly seeds, but people call them seeds. The seeds of the strawberry are not grounded all the time. So insects smaller than that, we did check, and I did by myself. Many times they stay whole after, even on how do you say, on jam and so on. Like sometimes they stay. But when we are talking about shake and jam, now, even if we know that we had insects, now we are in a doubt. Maybe they were grounded, maybe not. So even if it's asur, even if it's prohibited, it's lower prohibition. Because of that, you will see different approach on that. In Israel, they say all the kashrut. If you want to eat blueberry, it's not enough if you're grounded, because we know that blueberry has very high percentages of infestation. I don't know. So if you grounded blueberry and blackberry, so it's not enough, because you just have now a doubt if you have all insect or a half insect. But if you make a juice from it, meaning you made a very small grounding, not as a shake, more than that, like they do for making a concentration juice, it will be okay. But some said that, look, all those things of insect of argument by itself. So I'm not telling you you're allowed to eat those insects, but if you take it to another step, meaning you ground it, it will be enough, because now we are in a doubt. So I hope you got me. So it depends how much you see those insects as a prohibition. Some understood they're 100% prohibited, even though they're small. 100% prohibited. We are not care about what Rabbi Yonatan Eibishitz hold, because most of poskim not holding like him. So even though they're small, it's 100% asur. If you're grounded and you're not sure if it's grounded or not, it's not enough. It's lower, the prohibition, but it's not enough. Some said, look, I can't tell you you're allowed to eat that because you do have many insects, so it's a problem. But if you ground it, so you have another doubt, so it's lower. So about that, it's enough. I hope you got it. Somebody want to ask something, or you want me to repeat any part of it?
What about if you wash them with vinegar and the vinegar kills the insects?
I will go to the practical. I think I will go the next week. I can tell you in short. Halachically, I will talk about the dye insect. This is part of now, and next week I will talk about practical what vinegar do, and we also can see together and what a soap does, and so on. Now, when the insect die, there is no difference halachically, like if you eat a dye insect or a live insect, so there is no difference. This is the basic. But some said if it's a very small insect that nobody almost can find it when it's die, some said it's not the oraita. So some do understand that when we are talking about small insect, when it's die, it will be lower. Not 100%. Like the basic halakha, it's dying pig and a live pig, or dying insect and a live insect are the same. But I said some understood that when we are talking about a small one, so because it's very hard to recognize a die insect, so some said it's not will be a Torah prohibition, it will be a rabbinical prohibition. Somebody wants to say something? To ask something? Now, another part. What will be the case about insects that they are very small and we can't see them with our naked eye? So many poskim at the time when magnify and microscope and so on were invaded, so the poskim got questions that they said, look, we check vinegar, nice vinegar, and we realize that under microscope you have many moving things inside. And after that, they check another thing when it's just approach. And they realize even on water, you have moving things. So they came to the big poskim at that time. And I can say that there is a consensus about that every alive thing, or it doesn't matter what, that you can see with your naked eye, there is no problem. Because of the law that the Torah lo nitna lemalachei hasharet, meaning Hashem gives us a Torah as human and not as angels, and we don't need to have high-level technology to be able to drink water. So everything you cannot see with your naked eye should be okay. This is the first level. I think this everyone know and heard about that, and it's understandable. If somebody has a question, feel free. I'm continuing a little bit more about that. Now, to our situation, you will see, this is can't be like in Zoom, but we will see it Bezrat Hashem frontal, that small insects that we're talking about, you can check them online, like thrips and spider mites and aphids and all those, and I don't know, springtail and so on, all those insects that we have in fruit and vegetables are insects that are bigger than a normal dot in the end of a sentence. And everyone, if you will see this insect on a white paper, everyone will see it, even will get disgusted. Everyone can see those insects that we're talking about with his naked eye. The only thing is, one of the beautiful things that Hashem created in our world is that insect has hasva'a, meaning, if somebody knows the word, go ahead. Meaning that they know like to be green on a green leaf. They look the same. They know how to hide. They look like something that they will be able to survive.
I think you say disguise, but I'm not sure. Like
Camouflage.
I didn't hear. Can you say it again? What?
Camouflage.
Camouflage. Thank you so much. So because they do have it, so sometimes it's even for us, it's hard to find them. Meaning, you check a cauliflower, white one, and the baby trips. When they eat white, they're 100% white. When they're baby trips, when they eat green, they become green. I don't know. It's their stomach. It's amazing, and so on. Many insects. And it's just when a person don't know what he's searching for, it's very hard to see. After few hours, even less, of basic understanding and like when a person see it, somebody show you, you don't need to be professional for that. Like in a very basic skills that a person can get, you will see it even with your naked eyes. So I can say, many said that this is not what the poskim before talks about. It's not things that we can't see with our naked eyes. We 100% can see with our naked eyes. The only problem is we need to know how they look like. We need to know where to search them. Meaning, if a person, for example, will take a strawberry, and he just do not have the knowledge, and he think that the insect should be inside, and he's opening the strawberry, and he didn't find anything, but the insect stay under one of the seeds, and he didn't saw it. And when a person that had the knowledge just took the strawberry, took the insect from it, and show him the insect, this is not a thing that we cannot see by our naked eyes. We do see it. So I can say that famous understanding is that when I can say more than that, even rabbis that got the lenient approach, and I am okay with lenient approach if it's go inside the halakha, like if it's part of the halakha. When you show them the insect, many times they change their mind. Like there is a little bit like small percentage of rabbis that knows what they're talking about on that point, meaning they have the knowledge of insect, and they after that say, look, it's not a problem. Many of them just say it's not a problem, you can see it, but after you show them, they said, oh, definitely you can. If this is what you're talking about, you can see. And it's happened for me a few times. So I do say there is approach in the halakha that is not a problem, as I said before, because it's a small one, it's not considered an old one, and so on, so on, so on. But many rabbis, after you show them that, even if they said before, sometimes they change their mind. And in Israel, the way is to take the severe approach in that. In North America, and I will talk about it more, it's very weird. Meaning, it's not that rabbis come and said, like the normal custom is just you're allowed to eat everything. They tell you, I heard that this is a problem, but that is not, and that is not a problem. This is what I heard. I heard that there is things that they do say that it's a problem, meaning they do act with this insect as a problem. Because I said, if a person holds as Rabbi and Ivy sheets, for example, all this problem of insect, you can forget it, because it doesn't matter. If you have insect and it's less than 160, you don't need to care. And it's very weird to have more than 160 and not to see it by your not even naked eye. Just you will see things moving. Like in Egypt, I saw this thing you can see. I saw like a flour, how to say, like to make bread, and you can see it moving. When it's moving, it has no 160. But when it's moving, it's really weird for me that a Western person will eat this. Not because of halakha thing. It's not our question. Nobody will, I think, will eat flour that you can see it. Like just just goes because of bunch of it stays outside with I don't know with how do you say humidity and dirt and so on. If you're interested to see this kind of thing, just go to third world places, check the food. the street food, and you will find those very healthy food in India and Egypt and so on. So we do not have it more than 160 according to what I saw in my life in Western places. So I can say that most of the rabbis do take the severe approach about that. Till here, it's clear. By the way, I don't, most of you guys, I don't see you, so I don't know if you understood, if you're not, if and so on. So if you didn't, so tell me. If you want to ask something, tell me. I'm here for you, so feel free. So I'm continuing another step about that, and I hope that after this you will get the all subjects of things that we have in insect that make the different approach in rabbis today and so on, like what is clear for everyone and what is a discussion. Now we have another problem. Let's say we understood that insect, it's not kosher. We are talking about a situation of insect that we know we're not allowed to eat. Okay, let's say we just took a fruit from the tree. If there is insect inside, we're not allowed to eat it. And if you have a worm in the apple, we're not allowed to eat it. Now, we talked about that already in Ilchot Shchita, but I will remind you guys. If we have 1 in a million, like let's say for example, do you check cucumbers from insects? No, right? Nobody checked cucumbers. Why? Because in our place, except of India, they do have problem with cucumbers with insect inside. It's a different story. But so some kashrut that they import pickles from India, they sending a mashgiach to check the cucumbers there because they do have problem. But in North America, in Israel, I don't remember that I saw ever insect in a cucumber. But even if you will find once in your life, that is mean that from now on we need to check cucumbers. So the answer is no. Why? So we saw it like that. According to the Torah, if you have less than 50% that there is a problem there, you don't need to check. This is the Torah thing, okay? The Torah said, if you have less than 50%, it's enough. You don't need to check it. You don't need to be crazy about things. Just if you know that you have a problem, make sure to solve it. But let's say we talked about it in Ilchot Refot. You're not allowed to eat an animal that something happened to her. If it's something that you can't see straightly, if you see it straightly, definitely you're not allowed to eat. But if it's something that you need to search, to put effort about that, to check, if it's less percentage, it's 50%. Let's say you slaughtered 100 sheep, and there is a law that says that if you have a hole in the heart, you're not allowed to eat it. You saw 1, you saw 2, you saw 3, you saw 10 that have this problem. Doesn't mean now you need to check. No, you don't. Till it's more than 50%. This is the Torah. Chazal as a boundary, as many things in the Torah, they said, look, even it's here, I will say it in Hebrew, because there is no translation to that definition, because this definition, this sentence has many different understanding in the rabbis of the last 500 years ago. The Orala said, if it's matsui, it's if somebody has a nice translation for the word matsui. Often? Common? Thank you. If it's common that you have thing, meaning common, it's more than 50%, you're not allowed. I don't think the word common is specifically to what I want, but something that it's more than 50%, it's called a matsui. I don't know. So you need to check. Chazal said even if it's miuta matsui, meaning matsui, it's more than 50%, but it's miuta matsui, it's a little bit matsui, like lower than 50%, you do need to check. Okay?
I would
it's
say,
called.
I would say matsui is present.
Oh, matsui, like more than 50% mean present? Like present, you do have, most percentages you have?
Yeah, like the presence of it is 50%, or present of it is less than 50%. I think what you're saying, matsui, is present.
Present?
Not common.
Yeah, but the meaning is, I think it is common. I think it is.
No, because common, it would be a different word in Hebrew.
Because common is something that it can be even 3%, right?
Wait.
No.
Dictionary.
No? I don't know, I'm asking. But I just want you to I believe that...
common זה נפוץ.
Are you going by likelihood?
Alright.
Likelihood?
Yeah, like the likelihood is more than this or less than that.
Yeah, I think what you
Yeah,
said.
likelihood would work too.
Good. So likelihood, it means, Baruch, you mean like you can say likelihood more than 50%, or likelihood it can be also less? I didn't understand.
Yeah, it can be more or less. Like the likelihood can be more or less than this. You just go by the percentage.
Okay, but now I want to find a word for miuta matsui. Like the word matsui mean normally more than 50 or something like that. And the word, how to say miut in English?
Could it be probably or possibly? The difference between those two. Like if it's probable, it's more likely than not. If it's possible, it's less likely than not.
Okay, I will say in Hebrew, just half a minute about that. Try to, maybe you'll get words in Hebrew. And after that, one of you guys that speak both languages, see if you have good translation for that. ההלכה אומרת ככה, אם מצוי חרקים או מצוי בעיה, התורה מחייבת אותנו לבדוק. חז"ל אומרים, אפילו אם זה מיעוט המצוי, זאת אומרת, זה לא מצוי, זה מיעוט של מצוי, זה מוריד את זה לפחות, זה עדיין יהיה חייב בבדיקה מדרבנן. Somebody got it?
צריך להסביר יותר מה זה מיעוט, מה אתה מתכוון שאתה אומר מיעוט המצוי.
Okay, so I will explain just I just wanted you to get how it's not clear in Hebrew to changes to percentages, to understand how the huge argument that at the end you will understand the huge argument about now today, like how you approach strawberry, and more when you come to things that they are not like blueberries and blackberries that do have many insects. When you come to things that like cashew, dates, rice, and so on. So I wanted first of all to explain that what the Ur said, it's not clear. The Ur said the Torah said if it's matsui, if it's common, you need. If it's more than 50%, Chazal said even if it's less, you do need. Now, how we understood Chazal? How much in percentages it mi'ut amatsui? When I want to translate mi'ut amatsui to percentages, how much is it? Okay? So in the last almost 500 years ago, rabbis talks about that and try to understand the Gemara, basically. They try to understand the Ur Allah, what it means mi'ut amatsui in percentages. Are you with me? Okay. So, Rabbi, he was a rabbi in the time of Bet Yosef, at the time of the Shulchan Aruch. He said, very easy. He said like that, look, 50%, 51%, it's matsui. Mi'ut matsui, it's something less than 50%, but it's closer to 50%. This is what he said. He said, if the percentages are close to 50%, like let's say 30, I don't know, 25, 30, 35, 40, whatever, I understand like that. So it's not more than 50%, it's less. This is when Chazal told you need to check. Some understood him that more than 25%, like between 25% to 50%, Chazal tells us that we must to check. This is the lenient approach on mi'ut matsui. Okay? Rabbi was a very huge posek, Like when he says something, his authority is big. And he said that miut hamatzui it's close to 50%. I said many understood him that it's between 25% to 50. Okay, this is how the Radbaz understood. And in short, in Israel, this is how Rav Ovadia and Rav Yitzchak and so on said that this is the basic of Ikar HaHalacha, that we go in by a Radbaz, that if it's less than 25%, halachically you don't need to check. You can do it as a good thing, as what's called a Machmir Tavo Alav Bracha and so on. But it's not a requiring things to do. And I will go slowly to how we take it to percentages. It's also another idea. But some poskim, as Yeshuot Yaakov, some poskim said that miut hamatzui is 10%. Some said, Rav Eliahu said, some said 5%, and so on. So there is a poskim that understood at 5%, 10%, that the scale go somewhere there. Some poskim understood that it's considered miut hamatzui, and according to the Rabbanan, like rabbinical things, if we know that we have a problem, even 5 or 10%, we need to check. Okay? So on that argument, these arguments are not just in insects. It can be in checking the tend of chickens, if we need to check or not. If we need to check a lung of chickens. If we need in any problem that we have halachically, from which percentages we need to take care of it. Okay? So I said, Radbaz said something between 25% to 50%, and this is the lenient approach, and this is how basically Rav Ovadia holds, and many more. Rav Mazuz and more. And Rav Eliashiv and so on, they hold 5, 10%, something like that. It's a more machmir approach. Now, now question, does somebody want to understand, because I want to go another step. Somebody has a question, want to understand something? Feel free. No? Okay. So I will continue. Now we have another step. Let's say I will take it to the easy way, because I can say that it's a very common in the Aksherim to take the 10% way. Like if we have less than 10%, we don't need to check. If we have more than 10%, we do need to check. I said it's not according to everyone, but I just will take it to get the understanding. So, sorry for my English, because I don't find the correct words for that, but how we check if it's 10% or not. So meaning, if I have 100 cows and I check all these hundreds, and I saw 11 cows has a problem in the lungs, okay? Very easy, I know, that according to those poskim, I need to check lungs of a cow, okay? If I had 7%, meaning if I check 100 cows, I saw 7 cows had a problem in the lungs, I don't need to check, or in any different thing, okay? But when I take it to rice, for example, see how not clear it is. Does we go by a kilo, by a pound, by a specific one rice, by a bag of 25 kilo, or 50 pound? Which one is the Yechidat Midah? Somebody knows how to say Yechidat Midah? Somebody know what I mean? Yechidat Midah is when I say
I think unit of measure. I don't know.
Unit of measure?
Like the standard unit?
Standard. Okay. I will try. Let's try. Tell me if it's work. What is the unit of measure? We said 10% is not good. More than 10% is not good. We need to check. Now, let's say we covered all what we talked before. We got to a bottom line of insects. It's a problem. We got to a bottom line that that more than 10% we need to check. Less than 10% we don't need to check. Now the question comes. They ask you, Rabbi, do I need to check rice? Okay. Now I'm going to the
Laboratory.
Hmm?
Laboratory.
Laboratory, thank you. I'm going to the laboratory. I'm checking. I'm checking rice. And look, I found, I check 25 kilo of rice and I found 1 insect. What it means? How many percentages of insect I had in the rice? So if I said that the 25 kilo is what I checked, so I have 100%, meaning I found. If I say that that every kilo it's my unit of measuring, so how much I had? 4%, all right? You're with me, or it's too complicated?
I got lost.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard, this part. Maybe we'll jump it, but even if you will not get it, you just will get, I think sometimes it's important, like people say, oh, what I don't like, people say, oh, definitely it's mutal, oh, definitely it's so, and now when a person just start to get, this is the real thing, these things that I'm talking about now and a little bit more deeper, this is exactly what the rabbi of a kashrut and so on, he's need to calculate and to make sure what his policy is in strawberry and so on. Okay, you need to make sure what you hold in the insect. You need to make sure after that. Okay.
Well, Rabbi, maybe can you just finish the idea? So, if the standard is 10%,
okay.
So once you've checked 10% and you found that there's less than 10%, there's a problem, then does that mean that the other you can just eat without sorry, I just got to think about the issue. You said like with a cow, if you check 10% and there's no problem, then the cows are fine.
If you check the one you checked and you saw a problem, you're not allowed to eat. But do you need to check for the future? Meaning, you check the heart of cows, you took 100 cows, you check, you saw 8 of them got problem in the heart, and in the heart, and they're not kosher. Now they ask you, Rabbi, do we need to check a heart of cows? The answer is no. You have less than 10% problem, you don't need to check. If you will see a problem, you're not allowed to eat, but you don't need to check it. Because less than 10%, you don't need to check. So this is easy. But when it comes to rice, the question is, what is the measure thing? Meaning, this is what I try to show. I found I took a huge bucket of 100 kilo rice. Okay, I found 8 insects. Now, in percentages, what it means that how many percentages of insect I have. So now we need to go to another level of what is our measure, what is our unit of measure. If we're saying that we had that every kilo is our unit, so you have in 100 kilo, you have 100 units, you have 8 insects in 100, you have 8%. If we say that our measure is a pound, so we had approximately 3 point something 4% of insect, right? Because we split it to half. If we say the unit is 25 kilo, so it will be that you found 200%, like 2 times in every unit that you check. Okay, so even after we got to the conclusion of how much is our percentages, we need to know our units. And this problem is a new problem. Somebody knows why this problem just started on the last 100, 200 something years start to come, this problem? Can you think?
I guess we didn't have the same measurements.
This is also true, but and the last few hundred years they did measure, but in different measures. But they did measure. But the way you measure doesn't. We don't care if it's pound or kilo. This doesn't make a difference. The difference is to make things ta'asiyati, meaning back in the days, at the time of the Rabbaz, 500 years ago, nobody thought even of thinking of a huge bucket of 1 unit. You get the rice to your family, you check the rice. If you saw insect, you said, I found insect. If you didn't found insect, you didn't found insect. Now go to 100 people, see like approximately how many people tell you that they do find and people that didn't. And you know the bottom line, okay? How many percentages? Now, when the thing becomes like everything is factories and everything is huge and go by thousands of tons, okay? You go to the factory has thousands of tons of rice. Now you need to make a system of what I consider a unit, okay? So these questions appear to the rabbis more as a new thing after the Ma'apechat Asiyatit. How to say Ma'apechat Asiyatit in English?
Industrial Revolution.
Thank you so much. After the Industrial Revolution, the rabbis start to get, for factories and so on, do I need to check rice or not? I have tons and I found few insects. What it means, how much percentage, how I act with that. So I will go to the bottom line. I understand, and many rabbis understand, that we go by a part of how much a person normally eats. This was on that time. This is the halakha now. Halachically, we do need to find how you change it to numbers. But before the numbers, approximately how much rice a person eats for himself. This is a unit. If you think it's 100 grams, so on 10 kilo, you have 100 times 100 grams. Take, separate it, check, see how many insects you found, and this is how you go by strawberries and so on. Some said no, every small one, it's considered one. According to those, and to this understanding, I don't think ever, according to nobody, you need to check rice, because to see more than 10 bugs and 100, how to say small rice, each
Grain.
Thank you.
Grain of rice?
Yeah, grain. To find more than 10 insects and 100 grain of rice, it's terrible. It's impossible. You never saw it. You will never eat it if this will be the case. So according to this understanding, we have nothing to do. We almost don't need to check anything. But I said the most poskim understood that you go by how much you eat. This is your measuring. This is considered one. Now take 100 of them, not you, but this is the way we need to check and to make the conclusion. So, but some says no, it goes how a bag of a normal, how it sells in the store normally. Some understood a unit is like in Israel, it's a 1 kilo bag of rice, because normally it's go by a 1 kilo. So each 1 kilo, when you go to buy as a custom, you buy 1 kilo. This is one. Okay, this is more severe understanding, because if you got what I said, if you have 10 kilo of rice, and let's say we said that the person eats 100 grams, you have 10 kilo of rice, and you found 15 insects. So if you separate it to 100, 100, 100, 100, you have less than 10%. If you said each kilo it's a unit, you have 15%. So it will be not allowed. Now, that's it for this part. But like this, everything has the same. Now you need to go to all the details of strawberries, of blueberries. You need to basically calculate it, put in your mind all what I said, but with more, till you go to your bottom line of stika, basically, that you said as a big rabbi. My bottom line is that this are not considered minuta matsui, meaning I think that we don't need to check. If you want in short, we'll talk about it after, but halachically, rice, what I know in normally places, there is no halachically requirement to check. We check in as a good thing, but it's not enough percentages to say that there is a requirement thing to check rice in normally countries. According to what I saw, if you got a good condition rice, it will be very weird that even to find, to take 100 bags of kilo and to find more than 10 insects. I think if one of you check rice and you saw more than that, just tell me, like in a normal way. This is what I said. And I said that halachically, it's even more than that. It's also okay because we are not going halachically on a kilo. We're going on how much a person eats. So this is in short. But this is what we need to take in our mind when we are talking about that. Somebody has a question? What I'm not sure, it's either everything is understandable, and I don't think, or everything is not understandable at all, and people feel forget it.
Well, when you're talking
Okay.
about rice, when you're talking about rice, it really depends on which bag you take. Because some bags are old and you can really find a lot of bugs in it. And some bags are new and you won't. And I was told that if I find 3 bugs, once I'm counting, say 1 kilo of rice, if I find 3, throw it out and that's it. It's infested. What do you say about that?
I don't have time to go to this halacha. It's another huge understanding. I want to go to that also to understand where these 3 comes from and so on. In the bottom line, if you saw 3, it also depends, like practically, it depends which kind of insect, because some insect, even if you saw less, normally they have many of them. Like if you saw kinim, like kines farim, like what people have, some kind of what we have in our hair sometime when we are children. So
Lice.
Lice, if you saw kind of lice, so even less, normally they're coming a bunch of them and it's very hard to check. So bottom line is to just put it in the garbage. But now I'm asking of, when a person check in his life 100 or more than 100 bags of rice, when you take rice in a good condition, how many times people find insects? I think less than 10%, according to what I heard from people. And if this is the situation, there is no halachically requirement to check. We are checking as a good way of a chumrah, as like why not, as going to according to other poskim of different understanding, but it's not a halachically requirement. So like, for example, if the question will be after a person forgot to check, hard for him to check, they cook already, it's not even a question. We don't need to go to other halachot that we didn't have the time now of after a person cook, it go to a doubt, because it's just a thing that we're doing as a good thing, not as halachically requirement. I think also that if you buy date in a good condition, if you buy in a bad condition, they can be really roast. But in Israel, what I saw, if you buy a majahul in a good condition, it's not so severe. I don't think like it's famous to find that, to say that it's a halachically requirement. You can say it's a good thing, but not like a requirement. Now we have another few minutes, and we covered a lot, like really a lot. I think not like other shiurim that were not recorded. This video is recorded, so you can get it later and heard it again, or ask question about that, or make it a little bit more clear. There is few details that I didn't have time to go to it, but they are important. Maybe we'll do this one next week. One of them is to understand about what you ask about, a very good question about like those 3. Because there is halakha that says that if you check what you cook and you found 1 insect, take out this insect and it's good. But if you found 3, it's considered chazaka. There is a law that after 3 that like it's a thing. So you need just to basically throw it to the garbage or other solutions. We need to talk about that. I wanted to talk about maybe I will continue with something that is very part of what we learned, that this is about flour. Flour, I hope I say it correctly. I'm talking about what we're making bread from. Now,
Yes.
flour, it's a huge before the question of what we talk about percentages. Let's say we do have insects in our flour, okay? And like I said, in third world or in our world 100 years before, it was a very famous situation. You live in a village, they got a bunch of flour from somewhere, they got infested, you do have insect inside. To say, throw it to the garbage, as today you have a kilo of flour, throw it to the garbage, it's not a big deal. It's not what the situation in those places. So the rabbis do talk about this halakha deeply, and I will explain you because it's one example of understanding a little bit more deeply what we talk in the beginning. So I will do a quick 1 minute review of what we talked at the beginning of the shiur. We said at the beginning of the shiur, oh, I missed to say something. I jumped one thing that's important for now, so I will really say it now. We said that if you have insect in the water, in your well, and you drink the water, it's okay. Even if the insect went out and came back, it's not okay. But if the insect went out inside the vessel and came back, it's okay. On the other hand, the halakha said that if you have a fruit that got infested after it's not connected to the ground, but they didn't come from out, they were created inside the fruit, it's okay. Now the question starts, what will be the case? Oh, and sorry, and another thing, if the insect went out from the fruit or went from a fruit to other fruit or went different details, it's not good. Now, the question was, what is the law of flour? If we have flour, so the Shulchan Aruch said, if you have insect in a flour, it's not kosher. But many poskim, and this is the bottom line of Rav Ovadia also, that says that Shulchan Aruch just talk when it's on a floor, on the ground. But if you have flour in a vessel, in a huge vessel, doesn't matter what, in a bag, anything, and you had eggs in it, and it's become insects, it will still be kosher, because it's the same as if it was in a water. This is how many poskim understood. This is how Rav Ovadia posek in Alichot Olam, that meikar adin, meaning halachically, that even if you know, meaning more than 50%, you have insects, if it's in a vessel, it's okay. Why? Because the Torah said, Kol asher etz hashoretz al haaretz, the Torah said it should move on the ground. It never was on the ground. It was created, or like I said, eggs, it never was a whole thing, a live thing out of this vessel, so it should be okay. Rav Ovadia said that when you have another doubt, meaning when you, איך אומרים שעושים את זה במערוך, שמרדדים את הפת בלשון טיפה יותר גבוהה? Somebody know how to translate?
When you're using a rolling pin?
מתי שאת מכינה נגיד פיתה עם המערוך, שלשים את זה ושאחרי זה מועכים את זה ועושים מערוך וזה?
A rolling pin.
Okay, thank you. Marokh is a rolling pin. So when you put in a rolling pin, or according to some, when you even put it in the oven, this doubt of maybe something happened to the insect in the oven. Maybe part of it born of the insect, and if it's burn, I mean like got in fire or something, so it's not an old creature anymore, and it should be kosher. So it's just a doubt. Maybe it's happened to the insect, maybe not. Like we had insects, for sure, but maybe some of them are not all creature now. So this is another doubt. And the Shulchan Aruch said, if we have, not Shulchan Aruch, Rav Ovadia said, insect in flour, in a vessel, it's okay. But more than that, even if let's say it's not 100% you eat the insect because you bake it before, and when you bake it, how do you say? Maybe something happened to the insect. Now for the bottom line, I can say the custom and what people know, it's not like how Rav Ovadia said, and many poskim said it's Rav Ovadia meforash alichot olam. But many poskim taking the approach, and this is how I don't want to say many poskim. I want to say more that normally people understand that insect in a flower, it's a problem. I said it's not a clear problem. Some poskim said it's not. But we do trying to solve the problem. But when the question is bediavad, after a person use a flour in any, you cooked it already, you basically made bread from it. So you have also another doubt, bediavad, it should be okay. Or if we want to go to the question of what's called, we are not talking about that right now, we'll talk about it in the shiurim to come, of pat akum, if a person wants to buy bread somewhere in the world when you don't have other problem of ingredients, when you know that it's just kosher ingredients, but they're not, they're not cleaning the flour. So what?
Sifting the flour.
Thank you so much. They're not pisting the flour, but they make it already, they bake it already, it's b'diavad, so it should be okay. Somebody has any question?
Yeah, when you open a bag of flour, how do you know that the insect wasn't on the ground first and then got in the bag? How do you know? You don't know.
Right. So sometimes you do know, sometimes you not. When you talk about factories, so they have the silo and it's basically stay in that, went to bags and so on, and go to the factory and so on. They're not leaving it. Some places they're not leaving it in the ground. When you are the rabbi that give the kashrut and you know the situation of the factory, so you can know for sure, means that even if you know that you have a problem, it's not a problem according to the Rav Ovadia. Now, if you don't know, you're in a doubt, it's not good. But when it's a doubt, it's make it lower, that when we have another doubt of, normally it's work like that. Normally, we are not sure we have insects. And normally it's even lower than 10%, and definitely lower than 25% or 30% according to the Radbaz that we talked before. So normally the chiyuv of the bdika is not strong because the percentages of the infestation, it's not high normally. Now we check as ideally things as why not? Now a person didn't check a thing that even if the insect were not allowed, it was okay. So just to understand how much it's not so severe. The insect not 100% prohibited. Now, the percentages of infestation normally lower than the requirement of the really halakhic requirement. And you have another doubt of maybe it's not a whole insect anymore because of the baking, because of any process that you did on the way between the flour and so on. So because of that, the bottom line is that if you just buy the bread, halachically, basic halachically, I said, not chumrot, not definitely, it's better to get, according to all poskim, it's better if a person have the option is to do everything. But I said, when we will talk about ilchot pat akum, when you don't have a problem of ingredients, the problem of insects, it's not a huge problem. Like you have who to rely on, and so on. And if they didn't check the flour and you get it after it's baked already, it should be okay. Somebody want something? We basically finished, I think. It was, in my feeling, very concentrate. I will be very happy to get feedback from you privately on my WhatsApp or any option you want of how you like it, because in one way we learned a lot. I think that even if you got 10% of it, you learned a lot. And or if you do like me to add some percentages of stories, explain more, talk about our feeling, how you feel with that. I just took. We're doing this shiurim in Shabbat and different times, but this shiur is supposed to be really learning. But on the way of more explaining, like I'm really asking, I would be very happy to get feedback because I want to know how to communicate myself, and I want to know you specifically how each one to understand more you guys. So feel really free. We have a WhatsApp group on the class and the subjects of the class. We have many subjects. Some of them maybe I didn't explain well or maybe not enough. So you can listen it to again. If you have something, send on our WhatsApp group and I will try to get back, or if somebody else understood, can explain, feel free. It's like an open group. It's like a discussion. Ken, and there's
just one last question on the last topic you discussed, and that was when you find something in the flour versus finding something, say, in dates or grapes or something like that. If you find something in a fruit that you're going to eat raw, there doesn't seem to be a difference from your explanation whether you're going to eat it raw or you're going to cook it. Like, I can understand it's not such a big problem if you find something in flour, and the law, I would imagine, would allow you to find more insects in flour, because flour is going to be cooked into bread, and anything's going to be firstly beaten up with the rolling pin, and then it's going to be cooked into ash or dust. But if you find it in a grape or a date, you're going to eat that insect whole. I didn't hear anything about any distinction, like that it depends. What becomes allowed or permissible depends on what you're going to do with the fruit that you find the insect on.
Thank you for making it more clear. I thought I said it very clear, but I said it long. I said if we have insects, it's a problem. When we have any situation that make the insect not whole, now it's batel in 160 if we didn't do it purposely.
I see, okay.
So
yes,
now if you have a doubt, like baking it, it's not 100% cut the insect or make damage to the insect, but maybe yes. So this doubt, like what we learned before, that when we have doubt in the Rabbanan and so on, it's make it lower severe. That if the halakha said, look, you need to check this flour, let's say this is the case, but it's not so severe. If you have another doubt, we'll make it kosher. You know what I mean? So when you cook it, when you bake it, you bring, or not just bake, when you do all the process of it and so on, you bring in another doubt to maybe the insect, it's not an old creature anymore. So, and if it's not an old creature, so we don't have any problem. In flour, even if you don't cook it and you don't bring the doubt, maybe it's kosher by themselves, because if the insect were created in the flour itself in a vessel, according to many poskim, it's a saying, it's a machloket and so on. According to Pri Chadash and Tzemach Tzedek and Rav Ovadia and so on, they hold that that it's considered exactly as insect inside the whale of the water, that they didn't move em lo rachashu al haaretz. Now it's clear?
Yeah. Although you said if you have the flour but you don't cook the flour, but you never don't cook the flour. Flour, you can't eat flour raw, so you're always going to cook or bake.
You asked me halachically now, when I'm talking halachically, I don't care how you want. If you want to, I'm talking about the laws just. I don't know people that eat Oriya. You also want to? I don't know. Mom, I can't. I missed her. I cannot. I don't need to care halachically like what a person. I never know people that eat flour raw, but it's not my thing. If a person wants, but normally people don't eat it raw, so you do have another doubt, so it's become better. But because this law don't need to appear just about flour, it can be other different something that you grounded, and you know what I mean. So so I want to teach the law, and slowly we will learn how basically the psikat of halakha work. This is my end goal, is like to understand how we have the laws. They never talk, normally they're not talking about exactly our life, and how we taking those laws and bringing it to our daily life, you know. And we need to know what's the difference between things that they are very clear, things that they are deoraita, things that can be different opinions of rabbi, and things that they have almost nothing to do with real halacha, and they're just more emotional feeling and so on. If somebody wants something to ask, here is the time, and after we are finishing, and you can, like I said, on the WhatsApp group.
Good, Rabbi. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all. Appreciate it. I enjoyed. See you Bezrat Hashem on Friday, and next Shiur Bezrat Hashem.
Travel safely.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, Rabbi. Hi, Ruth.
Bye.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Bye.
Hi, Ruth. Hi, everyone. Bye.
Hi,
Hello.
Miriam. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I do this.
Do
Cool.
Hey, get out.